Hey there people, Zen Scissors here for you. Been a long time coming, but I'm finally here to try and let's play Killer Instinct Shadowlords mode. This first episode is going to be just me, so I can kind of give you the lowdown on what the mode is, how it works, and where it gets us to. I'll see who I can rope in on future episodes, but that's for future me to worry about, right? We've been waiting long enough, so let's just get this show on the road at last, shall we?
There is another dimension, the astral plane. It is ruled by the evil tyrant Gargos. Long ago, the other astral beings resisted this Shadow Lord, but he slew them all and stole their powers. Good creatures, known as Guardians, fled from Gargos and his minions, escaping to other dimensions. And they sealed the astral plane behind them, so that the corruption of Gargos could never taint another world. Until the sorcerer Khan Ra reopened that door, manipulated by Gargos' powerful mind control. Now Gargos is invading the Earth with his army of duplicate fighters called Mimics. This twisted demigod must be stopped, or he will enslave the human race forever. Meanwhile, in San Francisco's Chinatown, the Kung Fu master Kim Wu has inherited one of the last free astral beings, the Dragon Spirit, and Gargos will stop at nothing to take it from her. The warrior monk Jago is no stranger to the treacheries of Gargos. He comes from an alliance of Killer Instinct and Ultratech fighters, and he asks Kim to join their war against the merciless Shadow Lord. An astral portal opens, spewing forth a demon of Gargos, sent to eliminate Kim Wu and Jago.
Okay, so our first fight here is going to be up against KI's personal punching bag, my boy Omen. But first we gotta talk. Omen, what are you doing here?
I've come for you, brother. Gargos calls. Will you answer?
Never. I will never bow to that foul name.
We shall see.
So good at voice acting, right? So once this loading screen is done, which thankfully it's the PC version so it's not too long, we will be getting to the Shadowlords tutorial. As for that first story cutscene that I haven't really acknowledged yet, honestly, I'll clear the air on that, I'll give some context and explain some things when the time feels right to me, alright? In the meantime, let's talk about this tutorial. Obviously, you can see right here, it's showing you the 6 traditional buttons you're going to see in a traditional 6-button fighter. Most of what this tutorial lays out is stuff I already went through in that quick little KI tutorial video I did. Yeah, sweet cross-promotion tie-in right there, huh? But yeah, it's just telling you what your buttons are, the fact that, you can block, obviously. Normals and stuff can be done crouching or standing up. Doesn't go in the air, though. And then it's time for the specials now. So it wants you to do just an Endo Kuken, but I decided to dick around a little bit and do all the specials. Because, why not, right? It's actually because I accidentally got an uppercut when I was trying to do Fireball, so I thought, fuck it. But then I do Fireball, and then Omen just falls down because he's had enough of this. They don't pay him enough, honestly. And that is the first part of the tutorial. Of the gameplay tutorial, rather. There's another part, but ooh, cutscene.
A mysterious power draws Jago to the portal. He enters, and then vanishes. Arriving in the astral plane, he is dropped at the feet of Gargos.
Why do you aid these pitiful Earth beings, Jago? It is time for you to join your brothers by my side, and together we can rule this universe for eternity.
But Jago will never again bow to the hated Gargos.
Not really sure why Gargos cares about having Jago with him, but I guess that's on a need-to-know basis. Space Goblin's gotta have his secrets, right?
Jago, will you not join me?
The Tiger Spirit was a lie. I know my true path now.
You will kneel to me again, Jago. Now or later. It matters not.
I'm killing it, man! Oh my god, I'm so good at voice acting. Alright, so now we move on to the second part of the gameplay tutorial, which focuses a lot on the mode called Combo Assist. So Combo Assist is a toggle you can turn on that lets you mash out combos, but it does come with a severe drawback. So once I continue here, because this is pre-recorded footage, you're going to see me mash out a combo, but you're also going to see in the bottom left corner, it says do a punch ender. And that's because when you have combo assist on, you only get access to a punch ender and a kick ender. Usually a character has an ender tied to every single one of their specials, which most have 3 or 4. So you're limiting your combo game quite a bit. But that's enough of that. Alright, so let's talk combo breakers. Actually, let's not. If you want to know about combo breakers, just go watch my video. I cover it way better there. You know, this is a pretty good glance-through look at it, showing breakable windows here and there. It's kind of nice, but if you want more kind of a focused, zeroed-in look at it, go watch my video. Speaking of, I'm going to do a very impressive combo assist ultra right here, guys. Forward and left bumper so hard. Again, if you want a more focused, in-depth look at ultras as well, just go watch my video! Okay, I'm done. Game also recommends going to Dojo Mode, so do I. Dojo Mode is really good in this game.
Jago thinks he has defeated his nemesis, but he was tricked. Gargos was merely toying with him. The Shadow Lord reveals his new and even more powerful self. Jago summons all of his remaining shadow energy for a final desperate attack. But the Shadow Lord is too powerful, and Jago is blasted through the portal, scattering shadow energy across the globe. A mimic Kim Woo has emerged from the portal along with Jago. Kim must destroy her copied self, or die. Kim has defeated her mimic, and it drops astral items. The nefarious sorcerer Kan-Ra, a wielder of ancient magics. He tells Kim that the Killer Instinct fighters need her help to build a weapon capable of defeating Gargos. Kan-Ra teleports Kim and Jago to his lair, avoiding the wrath of Gargos, for now.
Welcome, Miss Wu. I have brought you to my emporium out of necessity. Jago is dying. Give me the items dropped by the Mimic, and I will give you a relic to heal him. Quickly, there is no more time. Jago's spirit is almost gone.
Alright, so now that we got a moment, I kind of want to take this quick second to give a shout out to the guys who do these cutscenes, because KI is a fucking budget game. And these guys are doing the best they can with these pre-existing animations, so I really respect that, I really do. Anyways, the game wants to tell us a little bit about the Emporium, which is basically your one-stop shop for all the weird shit that helps you in fights later on down the line. So, Jago got fucking murdered, and Conroe's offering to help us, so we gotta give him that sick fighting game loot we got to build this Phoenix Relic. We're gonna take this, and what the fuck do you think we're gonna do with it? We're gonna rub it all over Jago here in the barracks where you use your items and stuff. We'll get into that later, don't worry. We're gonna take it, click on Jago, click on that Phoenix Relic, and bam, he's good as new. Gargos, where is he? What's going on? Welcome back, Jago. You will need my help again to take on Gargos. Bring me astral gems from his minions and I can summon a powerful weapon to aid you. Alright, so now we get on to our first actual mission in Shadow Lords, an unusual foe. And this is essentially going to act as our tutorial for how you do regular missions in Shadow Lords. So on the left side, we basically have a rundown on what our enemy is, like their difficulty, mission details, which is usually just kind of flavor text, and then the enemy and their abilities, which Mimic Jago here just says power level 1, nothing too scary, but it gets more complicated as time goes on. So on my side, I gotta add a fighter. I don't really get a choice here, so it looks like I'm stuck picking Jago, because the game wants that mirror match pretty fucking hard, honestly. There's also Consumable and Guardian, which are things you can add later on, but right now it wants me to go in without them. It wants me to go in pretty raw here. I don't really get a choice, so fuck it. Let's do it. Alright, so I gotta say, I'm kinda confused why Mimic Jago chose the Alps, of all places, to wreak his havoc and whatnot. You'd think he'd go for, like, Jago Stage, the Tiger Lair, even, like, the fucking Shadow Tiger Lair or something. But no, let's go to the Alps, Riptor Stage. I guess mountains was a close enough connection for him. The Shadow Lord has cloned my likeness. What do you mean, brother? I am you. God damn it, come on, pre-recorded footage. Not this again. Wah wah, that's my Jago, Tuesdays at 8. Now is the time to break down some lore and backstory and shit. So, during this fight, I'm gonna kinda lay down how KI got to this weird fucked up point where you got this space goblin douchebag coming from the stars trying to kill the Earth or some weird shit. I don't know. But before we do that, the game has something to tell us about power levels. So, power levels determine the opponent's damage, health, and basically AI, how hard they are to fight. And that's essentially all we gotta talk about. It's worth knowing, though. Alright, time for some dank lore. So it starts out, there's this big, evil, cyberpunk-style megacorp called Ultratech, and it's headed by this weirdo AI known as Aria. So Aria is programmed to essentially make sure that mankind stays safe. But she looks at humanity and sees them as threatened by all the weirdo shit in the KIA universe, like ghosts and aliens, and all the Darkstalkers-ish stuff in there. So Aria decides to go to really extreme measures, and she sets a bunch of events in motion that will lead to Gargos getting summoned, so she can rally humanity around her and lead them into the future! It starts out with her basically raiding some secret city in the Andes, and in the process releases this ancient Ric Flair-looking asshole known as Conra. And so, he decides, hey, I'm free, I'm getting the fuck out of here, and he retreats to his forbidden nerd hideout in Egypt, where he decides, summoning Gargos sounds like a really good idea, guys, it's totally gonna work out for me. It totally doesn't work out for him. It turns out he was being manipulated into doing so by Gargos himself, and he wasn't very happy about that. And now, even though it makes a lot of characters pretty fucking salty, everyone's kind of forced to work together with Ultratech to prevent the world from getting fucking bodied. Hey, just in time, right? Almost like I made that explanation that long on purpose to line up with the video or something. But don't tell anybody. So after a mission is complete, a chest will drop from the ether, and you're locked on this screen till you decide to hit the chest and rain the sweet loot all over the place. Or, if you're like me, you spend a good while dancing around just doing random shit, having some silly fun. Never anything wrong with doing a victory dance. You earned it, Jago, so bask in it. The Alps are now safe for another day. The sheep can roam, the locals are free to yodel, and the Matterhorn is safe. Just ignore all that Ultratech shit in the background. You did what you could. So, are we ever actually gonna hit this thing? You bet. Alright. Why not give it a little bit of double tap, you know? Gotta be sure. So once you finally hit the chest, it rains its sweet loot all over the place. You get your outro screen like you would in any regular match. You get your victory screen like you would in any regular match. But then you get something you're probably not too used to seeing, which is the mission results screen, the mission complete screen, whatever you want to call it. You see who died, who didn't, and you see your rewards, which is basically items you can use, stuff you can use to make items, or astral gems, which you can use to buy stuff. I have won this battle, but the war against Gargos has only begun. You said it, Jago. And so, once you're out of stuff to do, or people to use, the turn is complete and the world is safe, or fucked, for another day! Ah, astral gems. Very valuable. I can use these to drop powerful treasures from beyond this world. As you'll come to see, most of the shit Conra pulls out for you is either Ultratech made or just some weird ancient animal organ. Working really hard, aren't you, mummy man? Anyway, let's buy this one-time deal of the mystery pack. We're gonna get a bunch of funky shit we can use on our journey to screw with our opponents in fun ways, including, as you'll soon see, our first Guardian! Ooh, what's this?
The Ram Psychic Breaker allows you to perform easy combo breakers. Press a punch and kick button of the same strength simultaneously to activate a Psychic Breaker. Each match starts with at least one Psychic Breaker. Additional charges can be earned by taking damage. Guardians also make their fighting partners stronger, increasing their damage and defensive rating, which are key buffs needed to help overcome the forces of Gargos.
I'm not the only one that saw that mouse pointer, am I? God damn it, Delreich. A Guardian. These ancient creatures make formidable allies. There are others. With more astral gems, I could unleash stronger Guardians. So before this next fight, I want to go a little more in-depth with the Emporium stuff. So in the Emporium, you'll have pretty much two screens you really need to worry about, those being the Guardian and Craft ones. Obviously, on the Guardian page, you have a bunch of different card-style booster packs you can choose from, like it's Friday Night Magic or some shit. The more you're willing to spend, the better quality and quantity of Guardians you'll get. You got the super cheap one, you got the kinda cheap one, you got the hefty boys one, and you got the spendy boys one. Aside from Guardians, there's also the healing pack, which just gives you a bunch of shit that keeps you from dying, so make sure to stock up on those every once in a while. Sometimes there will be special deals on certain Guardians and stuff, but as you can see, the right one right now. So that's pretty much that for Guardians. You can also buy KI Gold here if you really want to, but I've never really concerned myself with that shit. So moving on. Then we get over to the crafting tab. So here, you make a lot of the shit you'll be taking into battle to make sure you don't get turbo killed by enemies later on. So now that I'm on my actual account, you'll see that I'm fucking swimming in resources to make stuff. Totally worth bragging about, by the way. But no, I switched over because it lets me go over to something and show you that if you want it, and you got the stuff, it's just a press of a button and boom, there you go. You can also mash it out if you want, which I often do because it's just kind of fun. The craftable stuff also shuffles throughout the course of a session, which the game tells you whether you want to know it or not. So that's pretty much all the Emporium has to offer. You're gonna get all the shit you need from here, so make sure to say hi to Conra every once in a while. He gets lonely. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's go shit on this knockoff Fulgor hanging out at Ultratech HQ. Wait, who the fuck let him in? Whatever. So they want me on Jago again because Kimu just gets no love, it seems. They also want me to bring out some of my new toys, so let's grab this stinky wolf art and our new Ram buddy and give new meaning to the term hostile work environment. No, but seriously, how fucking terrible is Ultratech security? Like, come on. First Glacius breaks Eagle out of the super secret chamber. Now this shit. Fuck's sake, people. Mimic, you stand in our way. You must be eliminated. Threat to Gargos detected. Initializing eradication protocol. Alright then. Come, Guardian. Let's see what you can do. I don't really know why this Mimic is acting like a robot. They're just interdimensional creatures that take the form of other things. I guess this one's a real method actor or something. And again, you gotta let those intros rock. Even if it's an AI, it's proper etiquette. So as you'll see here in a second, this one's gonna have a new power in the form of Shadow Drain, which isn't very threatening, so it's all good. See, all it means is their shadow moves drain my meter if they hit me. No reason to shake in my boots. So during this next fight, let's get into things a little further, shall we? Why does Gargos want to fuck up the Earth so much? Let's take it from the top. So Gargos, he's an astral being, right? He comes from the astral plane, and he wanted nothing more than to take over other worlds because he loves being a villain. However, at every turn, he was thwarted by the efforts of the Akorans, who were other astral beings who were kind of sick of Gargos' shit and helped the people he was trying to enslave. When he tried to take over Earth, he got his ugly ass beat by Tusk, and then by Idol. Now back home, and with a bruised ego, Gargos decides he's just gonna kill all the Akorans because he doesn't give a shit anymore. He's done. He's fucking done with these guys. Then he sets his sights back on Earth, but the Guardians who serve those weirdo aliens sealed the astral plane and told the Goblin douche to go fuck himself. Then he ran into his old buddy Idol running around the astral plane, trapped by the Akorans. Not anymore though, so what did they do? They fought a bunch because they hate each other. And it ends up with Gargos basically cutting Idol's head in half, which is pretty fucking metal, so I can totally understand. Then he tricks Conra, as you know, into opening the portal for him to invade the Earth, because at this point he just wants to conquer the place and move on with his tyrannical life. Understandable, honestly. So what's happening with this match? Ooh, Stage Ultra! So, some stages have special finishers, obviously this is one of them, and this one's my favorite because it's a callback to some classic shit from the first Killer Instinct. Ah ha ha ha, I love it. And Jago is so disappointed that Mimic Fulgor couldn't stick the landing. 6 out of 10 at best. So let's dance a little bit and claim our prize now that we fucked up Arya's office. We're not paying for that shit, by the way, so let's get the fuck out of here before she comes back. You just know she's gonna talk her ears off about it. Something about evolving or dying and choosing one, and I don't want to hear that shit for the 1000th time, so yeah, let's just bounce. Don't think I'm done over-explaining shit just yet, because once we get out of this match, oh boy, I got lots of stuff to go into way too much detail about, so, you know, get a drink, take a piss, do what you gotta do, get yourself situated, because we're gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna be talking to you out for quite some time. The astral plane turns upon you, Gargos. Your fate is sealed. Alright, so super quick, let's talk about the corruption meter. So the gist of the corruption meter is that there are 5 continents you go across because Australia is already fucked, I guess. Each continent has missions you can do on them, and if a mission is incomplete at the end of the turn or failed, it adds to its individual corruption. Once they get to half full, an omen comes out to play. Once they're full, the continent's gone, and once 3 continents are gone, Big Daddy Gargos arrives. Alright, so before we move on, I want to talk a little bit about the barracks and guardians, so strap in, people. So when you go over to the barracks, you gotta look at how your characters are doing. By choosing any character, you can apply certain items to them you've obtained from the Emporium or from random rewards. Items have 4 different rarities they can be classified as. And as I'm sure you've guessed if you've ever played a video game, higher rarity items are usually better. So what kind of items are we talking about? We got buffing items, we got debuffing items, we got healing items, the works. We'd be here even longer if I named them all, so let's just move on. Just know that you can tag these onto any character you like, but be careful though. Once an item is applied, you can't remove it from the character. They are really attached to their belongings. So characters have 4 slots that you can put stuff into, but some characters, those being Tusk, Kimwu, Mira, and Idol, always have a space taken up by a character power. So if you can't remove items, how the hell do you get rid of them? Well, they automatically run out after a set amount of time. Items have time limits based off of turns, so once those turns have passed, that item is pretty much dust, and you can apply new items to that character. Lastly, let's talk about items you just use from the barracks. Some items you don't apply to characters and take up a slot, instead you just instantly use them in the barracks, and their effect is immediate. One of the most important things you do in the barracks pertains to this, and that's healing. Healing stuffs will be in the killer tab, and they are instant use items thankfully. Other instant use items give you stuff like Shadow Meter or Instinct Meter, but some shit will increase worldwide corruption if you're feeling dangerous, or just want to fight Gargos right away. I guess what I'm saying is, read the label on your shit, people. And that's the barracks. Make sure to prep your dudes for tough fights with at least something from here. Just about anything makes a world of difference. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Not really. Okay, let's roll right into Guardians now. So Guardians are little helpers that give you unique abilities depending on which one you choose. There are 10 different Guardian types, all of which do radically different things. Some are defensive in nature, like the ram one the game made me use that you saw. Others are offensive in nature, like the snake, which I'll show you eventually. Guardians can be passive abilities that augment your character, or they can be active abilities that need to be triggered in some way. All Guardians offer passive percentage buffs to damage and defense, though different Guardians give more of one than the other, and vice versa. Guardians, like regular items, also come in 4 rarities. The properties of a Guardian will improve drastically the rarer they are. There is a 5th rarity of Guardian called Crimson, but these are only available through special time deals. If you want one, make sure to check it on the Emporium every once in a while. Another important point to note is that Guardians are unlimited use in a sense. Once you own a Guardian, you own it for good. So if that's the case, why ever use lower level Guardians once you have the cream of the crop? It's because you gotta feed these fuckers. Guardians have charges on them, and these are used up by putting them on for a mission. Each Guardian has 5 charges total, and once they're up, you can't use them until you feed them like a space chocobo. Guardians eat astral energy, and sadly, you can't just head down to the supermarket for that shit. Astral energy is obtained through doing missions, and opening Guardian booster packs in the Emporium. The higher level the Guardian, the more astral energy it takes per charge to fill. Because of this, on earlier playthroughs, I definitely recommend only using the big boys for the big missions. You can only have 5 Guardians of the same type, and if you receive a 6th one, the game makes you transmute one of them. When you transmute a Guardian, you break it down into astral gems and astral energy. This won't be a problem unless you play the game as much as I do though, so don't worry. And we'll leave Guardians at that. I'll try to highlight each Guardian throughout the playthrough so you get a good look at each of them. You'll quickly discover which ones I like and which ones I don't. But rest assured, you're going to be seeing some wacky horse shit. Meanwhile, in the actual game, we're covering deployment missions. Some missions you can skip the fighting parts and just send a character to automatically fight for you. It only applies to regular missions, and from my experience, it's pretty much random whether or not it's an option. But these fights will have success rates that are increased by using items and or Guardians. The more powerful stuff you use, the better the success rate will be. Once you're ready, just hit deploy and you're good to go. Wait for it to finish, and if you succeed, you'll get some rewards like any normal battle, and your character will take some damage from the fight. There's also unique random events that can occur before and after any fight, and this one happens during the tutorial no matter what. Arya is pleased with your efforts in supporting her alliance. With the many forces of the world working together to stop Gargos, humanity may yet stand a chance. As a show of good faith, Arya has offered a member of her own forces to join Jago and Kimwu. Alright, Arya. Let's see. I think our team needs some Season 2 blood, personally, so I'm thinking let's walk the path of the dinosaur, and we're gonna go with Rippy Rips. The ancient gods created the dinosaur, and the ancient gods destroyed it. So Ultratech has created the Stalker unit, and so in turn it shall destroy an ancient god.
Arya explains that the arrival of Gargos is imminent. As his corruption spreads, the barrier between worlds weakens, allowing his omens to reach Earth and secure the gateways for his arrival. Arya tells you to work with Kanra to track down powerful items and guardians to make yourself stronger. These will help aid you in your battles against mimics and ultimately, the Shadow Lord. You must defeat him, or the Earth will be destroyed. Remember to make yourself stronger. Gargos will arrive no matter what you do, but you can prepare yourself for his arrival.
And with that cutscene done, we're essentially finished with the prologue of Shadowlords. So now it's going to turn it over to us once the turn begins, and we'll be free to do as we please. We get one final tutorial message, and the game reiterates that this is a mode meant to be played multiple times through. We also get a good luck wish from... I don't know, the narrator? Let's go with the narrator, sure. And, as a little bonus, we unlocked Jago for completing the Shadowlords tutorial, which is actually kind of cool. And so, at this point, what we're left with is pretty much any regular old Shadowlords run. But I think we're going to call it there. This has been going on long enough, I think. So next time, we'll get into what you'll see in an average Shadowlords game, with hopefully a little more character variety, as well as hopefully a little more commentator variety, so you don't just have to listen to me babble on for minute after minute. So, see you then, people.